Hello everybody, how you guys doing? My name is Dr. Chidi. I'm wishing you guys from Toronto, Canada. How you guys doing? Yes, we're supposed to start this program like exactly 7 p.m. Nigerian time, but allegedly circumstances beyond our control made us not to start the program on time. In Nigeria, even you don't want to talk about what is the problem. You just pretend and you just come and add allegedly. That's only in Nigeria. Like, instead of me saying that maybe we didn't have fuel in our generator and we're looking for a generator and there was no light, I just look for one excuse and say that I'll turn around to people around me and I'll say, all those of you who think that Dr. Chidi is saying the truth, say, everyone just say, and then we'll move on. That's how things work in Nigeria. So just take it like that. Allegedly, some things made us not to start. But yeah, it's a good day. I want to thank you for joining us. Do me a favor, because YouTube keeps just putting down the viewership. So go ahead, once you come in, go and share the video to other people. Those of you who are watching the program after this time, please try to share it to people that should watch the program. Today we're talking about the future of activism in Nigeria, and I have a guest who is not a stranger to activism in Nigeria. He's been there, done that, like they will say. He's is an encyclopedia of activism in Nigeria, and I kid you not. Now, if I'm talking about him being an encyclopedia of activism in Nigeria, you may be wondering how old this person is. You think that he's an ancestor, not even like an elderly person. But no, within the time he has been on earth as a human being, this guy has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly side of activism in Nigeria. I'm talking about none other person than the the national coordinator of the Take It Back movement, Nigeria, person of Comrade, Juwon. How are you, sir?
Dr. Chidi,
It is alleged that that this is Comrade Juwon. The
yeah,
allegation is that this is Comrade Juwon, so we need to clarify that
yes, an
it's actually
allegation.
you.
We are not sure. I'm not even sure it's still me. So it's still an allegation. Even me, I'm still trying to investigate.
So trying to investigate. We need to set a panel or a disciplinary
I
panel
need
of
to set
inquiry
to
to
specifically verify if
verify
the
if it is
uh,
you. Oh, Comrade
because
Juwon
if we
is.
don't get to verify, then we may need to declare state of emergency.
Yes, so yes, in fact, I was considering that when I had to shift the program from 2 o'clock, from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I was nearly going to declare a state of emergency with you.
Uh,
You know what
yeah,
I'm
so we need to
saying?
get state
Oh my
of
God, my microphone was
where
fine.
things are, where things are going.
I was going to declare state of emergency for you. Wow. Now, my brother,
Yeah, very
Nigeria,
fun.
Nigeria has become like a comedy. Like the whole place has become a comedy.
The country is a joke,
A big
and
joke.
it's a tragic joke, and that is why people like, for instance, people like Shore would describe Nigeria as a crime scene. No, but even though
Yes,
it's a
so
crime scene, it's a kind of joke that you 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 can't afford to laugh, and you can't afford to cry. It's a
Abi,
complete state of confusion. You don't know what to do.
you don't even know what to do. You don't even
you,
know what
you
to.
don't
You
know
don't know how to
you don't know the
react.
kind of music to sing to the lyrics that the country is playing to everybody.
You're right. It just they give you the lyrics and they just tell you the kind of music to choose. You just choose the music genre. If you want to sing blues, oh, no problem. You want to that's
uh,
you reach everybody this time around. Oh my God. Juwon,
Yeah.
let's start by letting our listeners know who you are. Guys, I hope I'm not echoing. If you're listening to us, please let me know if I'm echoing because I'm hearing some feedback from here. Just let me know if I'm echoing. But if not, then we're good. So, guys, Juwon, let's go back to how what you know about activism in Nigeria. What was your first contact with activism? What was that time in your life when you would say that you got involved in activism?
Uh, yeah, to start with, I think it's quite interesting, really.
Yes.
My first attempt at activism was, if you must put it, it was quite a cruise,
Mm.
you know,
This is a
and that
cruise.
was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So interestingly, in 2009, that was like a few months after I left high school.
Mm-hmm.
Few months after I left high school, I was passing through. I was just walking around. I
Mm.
was going somewhere. Then I saw a vacancy,
Yeah.
a teaching vacancy for in a secondary school in
Yeah.
Nigeria. Then I just went there. Like they were looking for a teacher. They are looking for a further mathematics teacher and chemistry teacher. Then I went to the school and I told them that look, I can teach this subject.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like asking me what qualifications. Looking at this is quite funny to me. So then they were asking me like what qualification do I have? I say, yeah, I just finished high school and I know this subject now. What's the big deal?
That's what you need. I know it. I can teach it.
I know it's now. What's the big deal? So, so I guess the principal wanted to mock me. Then he
Mm.
then said, okay. He then asked me to go and do teaching practice
Uh,
at SS3 class.
yes.
Like I was very small. I was actually
Yes.
17-year-old at the time. You understand? So
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I went there. I went to the class,
Mm.
and after I was done with the class, the principal was very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, because that was more or less, he didn't know that that was not the first time I was teaching. Because
Oh,
as an high school student, I
he
used to
wanted
teach.
you to fail. He wanted you
I
to
wanted,
fail.
so because of the way I pushed him, just so that I'm going to embarrass this dude, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then eventually he gracefully he employed me as a
Oh
staff. So
wow.
I was the only high school diploma holder and the youngest staff of the school. The school is called the Ledmans College. It's
Mm.
around Agbotukuyo in Orile Agege.
Okay.
You understand? Then I started teaching there. Not long ago, so we were then hold about 2 months salary in arrears. And
Mm-hmm.
around that particular time, ASU, that is the Academic Staff Union of Universities,
Mm-hmm.
had just concluded a strike action, a
Mm-hmm.
successful strike action in which they got very significant concession from the government. That was under the Yaradua's government.
Administration. Okay.
Yes. And I just went to the staff room and I was like, come on. So, they have not paid us for 2 months because I'm not so familiar. Okay, yeah, I've been familiar with the word strikes because
Mm.
Oshomole at this period caused a lot of strikes.
Yeah.
Even though he had some of his own end games, as we later came to find out.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but the 2009 ASU strike brought me in contact with the real power of a strike. And I just engaged some of the rest of my older colleagues. They were much older
Mm.
actually, and I was like, "Come, let us to go on strike. Like we are being owed 2 months arrears. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
is happening. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like these people are taking us very seriously." And then they agreed with me, but they could not front it because a number of them, they are all married, they have responsibilities and all, so they don't want to risk being sacked. But for
Mm.
me, I had nothing to lose because the job in the
Yes.
first instance was cruise for me. You
While you're,
understand? So I
while
just
you're
went,
waiting, while you're waiting to.
yes, so I just
Mm.
told them that they should not worry that I'm going to front it. And then I just went to the principal's
Office.
office. And I told the guy that look, oh, we have decided that we are going to drop the chalk. We are dropping our markers. We are not going to teach until people pay us our salary. The principal thought we were joking. Until students started coming to his office and are saying that they've gone to the staff room and teacher said they were not coming to class. That was when he took the matter seriously. So throughout that day we did not work, and the following day, first thing in the morning, the person we met was the proprietor of the school.
Mm-hmm.
The proprietor of the school is works in a bank. He's a banker.
Yeah.
So by the time we got around, and he then discussed with us and then said he apologized and then gave us a post-dated check. That is, so the post-dated check was it was going to be due for withdrawal 7 days after. It was upon that condition that we then called off the strike. And of
Mm.
course, after 7 days, we received our 2 months arrears. So that
Thank God they
was my,
paid after that time.
yeah, yes, they paid us our arrears. So that was my first encounter with activism, even before I
And,
got into the university.
and you were how old then?
I was 17 years of
All right.
age.
So now you entered the university. And what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah, so the moment I entered the university at the time the student union was fighting against increment in acceptance fee. That was in 2011, January. So apparently, the university authorities of OAU had increased acceptance fee from 2,000 naira to
Mm.
20,000 naira. So the student union was not going to accept it. So then and around that time too, the student union was not only the political force on the campus, there were also ideological groups that
Mm-hmm.
were strictly socialist groups. Like, as a matter of fact, I met four of those groups on the campus. That is Space Setters Movement, Socialist Youth League. No, it was Congress of Progressive Youth at the time. Then there was
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Socialist Movement, and there was Progressive Student Agenda. That's about four student groups that were on the campus. So I collected their leaflets and the student union leaflets as well. So the content of these materials provided me with a context, more or less like a theoretical context of
Mm.
what I had fought for when before I entered the university in 2009. When I led the strike
You
at the
didn't
high
even
school, it
know.
was just
You didn't even know what
I
what
didn't
the
know
heck.
what I was doing. It was for me, it was just schools. But the leaflet of the student union and the ideological groups
Mm.
provided me with a context of what I did in 2009,
Yeah.
2 years ago, before I entered the university.
Sure.
You understand? So that was like, and from there, I joined the student union protest and eventually began organizing within the student union. Going forward, in the course of my organizing, in 2014, I was sent out of the university. As a matter of fact, around that period, I actually collected 2 letters. One of suspension, indefinite suspension,
Mm.
and then another of rustication. I was not like, which of these 2 letters should I even pick? Safe? Are you suspending indefinitely or you are rusticating? So, and interestingly, before I got the letter, my parents had gotten the letter first. You know,
Hey.
Yeah, and then my dad, yeah, as a matter of fact, it was my dad's call that made me know I had been suspended from the university. So my dad just called me. I was like, it was shouting at the top of his voice that have I joined Curtis? Have I become a Curtis? Blah blah blah. There was saying also and all sort of stuff that I didn't understand. So
Because of
then,
what they had, I think it's because of
uh,
the way they framed the letter and what they must have
yes, the
told him
letter.
about you.
Exactly. So I was like, I didn't know what was going on. After I spoke with my father, then I then got a call from the Division of Student Affairs, from the Division of Student Affairs in the university, that I
Mm.
had a letter. Then I went to the Division of Student Affairs. Then they gave me two letters. I opened the letters and I laughed. I said, "Yeah, it is true. My father is right for thinking I'm a court." Because there were two letters. Like in one of the letters, I was accused of abduction. You
Uh-uh.
know, so it was like very crazy. So and then uh, part of the letter also included the fact that I must not be seen anywhere within the university community and declared persona non grata on the campus.
That's
Uh, interesting, Interestingly, around that time, it was also campaign period for the 2000 for the presidential campaign, 2015 general elections. President Jonathan in November 2014 came to campaign on our campus,
yeah.
and then yeah, we just said that look, this was an opportunity. We simply mobilized our peers because we were fighting against fee increment. It was because of our fight against fee increment was circumstance around which I was suspended from
Yes.
the university.
Yeah.
So instead of obeying the university's declaration that I should not be seen anywhere around campus, I just bonded with the rest of my colleagues and we started the protest. So around with that protest, oh, it was very crazy. Jonathan and some of his people. Jonathan did not come alone. He came with
Mm.
the Oni of Ife of the then Oni of Ife, Oba
Yes.
Asijuade
Yes. Yeah.
of blessed memory, of cursed memory. so there was the Oni of Ife, there was Ayo Fayoshi. At the time, Ayo Fayoshi was Ekiti State governor,
Governor.
and
Yes.
uh, and his full military artillery, ministers and all. So we had turned the campus upside down, and then Jonathan then sent his minister. I think his minister on his minister, his minister of finance. His
Mm.
name is something Aganga. I can't remember his full name, but something Aganga. And that guy then held me and I think that, bros, come, we can discuss this thing. The president wants to meet you. Let us discuss. Don't let us embarrass the president. I was like, look, oh, me too, I don't want to embarrass the president. So we have an issue. An issue of increment and the fact that some of us we have been sent out of school. Just a one word from the president of the country, who also happens to be the visitor. You can get all of us instated and reverse
Yeah.
this whole fee increment.
Yes. So.
And they said, that's fine, but let me that he wanted me to come and meet the president one on one. At that point, I knew I was being invited to be bribed. You understand? So
Yeah.
I just told the minister then that look, I can even do President Jonathan a bigger favor. We have there is this theater we have, it's called amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
Amphitheater has capacity of 5,000 students. That is the
Yes.
regular normal capacity. But in actual sense, it can even accommodate as much as 8,000 students.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I can mobilize students down to that amphitheater. Let President Jonathan come to that amphitheater and come and speak to students, explain to them
Yeah.
why fees were increased. You understand that?
Exactly.
In fact, if Jonathan does that and revise the fee, that is the biggest PR for
Yes.
his
Now. Of
administration.
course. Of
You
course.
understand? So, but I discovered that they were not interested in all of those, but only interested in cornering me and perhaps some bribery. Then we just escalated the issues and they started. this news is still online till date. Jonathan was stoned. We stoned
Hmm.
Jonathan. We chased him. He was running towards his helicopter. As a matter of fact, most newspaper like Sahara Reporters, Punch, and AIT recorded a breaking. OAU student stones Jonathan.
And by this time,
So,
you were already
uh,
rusticated, though.
yes, I was suffocated. I was out of school. And I had been declared personal non grata, but I was the one leading protest in the campus. So, and then, uh, interestingly, 2 days after, I was to go and appear. I had a court case against the university authority at the
Mm-hmm.
Federal High Court Osogbo because I had also challenged my uh, suspension and rustication from the university. I challenged it at the Federal High Court.
In court, yes.
Yes, at the Federal High Court Osogbo. So when I got to the Federal High Court Osogbo, the lawyer to the university said to the judge, he was trying to prove to the judge that I was recalcitrant, troublesome, and the university was justified to have sent me out of school. That he then told the university that look, this person is a troublesome person. He sent the number one citizen, he embarrassed and disgraced the number one citizen of this country. This is his name in Punch newspaper. Then he brought a Punch newspaper. You understand? And of course, yeah, my name was on Punch newspaper. And he then said that also that this person uh, went to the university senate building, beat up the entire university security, accessed the vice chancellor's office, and broke his glass. So, and then that was quite that was crazy. Then my lawyer, his name is Barrister Lekun Alabi,
Mm.
he then objected and then asked the judge that my lord, can you give me opportunity to allow this person to stand up and identify himself? This person that have done this, all of these things. You know, actually, you look at how I look like now, and now you and how I look like in 2014. So by the time I stood up, both the judge, there was the entire court, and there was someone also who had been sentenced, who was waiting to be sentenced. You understand, to prison. Everybody laughed in the court. The court became a center of comment.
They were looking for one
So, uh,
big guy. The guy who was causing
exactly.
the whole.
That eventually the university lawyer looked like a moron. But how you say this person did all of these things that you're talking?
So this is the person that is chasing you people away. Oh my god.
So yeah, it was it was quite interesting. So I know that those are more or less those are some of my there are very other interesting stories, but I could just say these are some of my experiences, preliminary experiences as an activist. Yeah, let me just put it that way.
You know what? You know why I had to go back? Because every time I interview people, I like to know where they're coming from. I don't have I'm very suspicious of people who just drop from the sky. Like by the time we want to by the time we want to investigate what your foundation is, we don't find anything that is inclined to what you are doing right now, then I'm very suspicious. So that's why I always like to go back to people's foundation, see what their life has been, so that I can relate with why they are doing what they're doing now. We can see from your history that you've had very very uh, major runnings with the powers that be from an early stage in life. I'm going to jump forward to talk about because I know when I met Omoyele Shore, I saw you in the picture already there. So I want to talk about your experience with Omoyele Shore. How did you come to meet Omoyele Shore.
I think before I met Shure physically,
Yes.
I had known about him as because I was a former student leader. Because as a matter of fact, you can't call yourself a student leader and not
Mm.
be familiar with the history of Shure.
Omoyele Shore.
It's like it was normal. Yeah, there are some certain student leaders in the country, ex-student leaders in the country that you have to say that you know at least to qualify to discuss the subject of student unionism in the country. So knowing Shirore was one of those instances. But that was not all. Prior to the period that before I was suspended in the university in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
I had collected several query letters and faced disciplinary panels. In one of the query letters that I received, before I received the query letter, I was called into a gathering of the dean of the faculty, that's faculty of science, the head of my department, that department of microbiology,
Mm-hmm.
and my part advisor, three of them. Interesting, and then they called me to the middle, and then they were like, Juwon, the reason the three of us wanted to meet you is that we also discovered that you are from Ogun State
Mm-hmm.
and Abeokuta indigene to be precise. The
Mm-hmm.
three of us here are also from the same state, from the
Mm-hmm.
same ethnicity as you,
Yeah.
and then we hold you serious conversation and the conversations really was about me not challenging the university authorities, stop
Mm-hmm.
challenging the government. And then they told me that if I keep up this path, that I may be following the path of destruction.
Yeah.
So one of them,
Perfect.
who happened to be my past advisor, was an alumnus of the University of Lagos. So he then happened to know Omoyele Shure. Then
Mm.
he then told me a scary story that that Shure also had this kind of that when he was in school, that he knew someone, his name who was the president of the student union of the University of Lagos, that his name was Shure, that he also had sincere motives. But you cannot fight the government and the state and defeat the government. That one day he was just coming out of his hostel and saw blood flowing through the veranda, and by the time he came out, it happened to be the blood of Shure who had been attacked by cultists. That I just want to waste my life if I want to go through if I want to go through that same
All of them.
path.
Yeah.
So it was more or less like, so they were threatening me with attacks from the university. They were also threatening me with possible physical attacks that will come upon me if I decide to continue pursuing
Activism.
my line of action.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the few times. That was another instance where I heard of the name Omoyele
Omoyele Shore.
Sowore. And uh, prior to then also, interestingly, it wasn't interesting. I then decided to go and Google that name. This was Omoyele Sowore.
Mm.
And then I then came across when I googled the name. This was 2012
Mm.
because I wanted to have some sort of faith. I know the name, right? But I could not connect the name with the face. I don't know the
Sure.
face,
Sure.
but I knew the name. Then I went
Mm.
to Google, and then one of the very first video Google brought to me was a YouTube video where of 2012, where Shure was confronting
Yeah. Visiting
the
ambassador.
yes in the US. And
Yes.
that was like, oh, I was like, oh, this is more like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
one
yeah.
look
I
like
was like, oh,
the stories that you've heard
yeah,
about him.
I was like, this my guy.
I see.
So, and eventually, I would then come to meet Omo Eleshure physically for the very first time late 2016,
Hmm.
you know. And from then, and this was in
Oh, there seems to be a glitch from Juwon's side, but hopefully he will get through it and join back. I forgot to warn you guys that Juwon is reaching us from Nigeria, and he had warned me that there could be some network issues. So I'm even glad I was able to go this far without network issues. All right, you have to understand that nothing is guaranteed in Nigeria. And when we say that, it doesn't mean we are being unpatriotic. It doesn't mean we're trying to sound whatever. It's just the truth. Nothing is guaranteed. Not light, not healthcare, not nothing, not your life. Okay? And Nigeria is anything goes. So I'm not surprised it's having network problems. Yeah, somebody will say, shit, but you have network problems here too. When I have network problems here, when I have problems with my hydro, it is strange to me. I expect that something terrible is happening. Either something terrible is happening in the city or they just had a minor outage. I know that I have to wait for a few seconds, a few minutes, sometimes 1 or 2 hours before the light will come back. But I know, based on past experience, that that light will still come back. But in Nigeria, nothing is guaranteed. But we seem to have Comrade Juwon back in the house. Yeah, welcome back, Juwon.
yeah, it's the network is crazy these days.
I
You
know.
know.
Continue, please.
Yeah, so yeah, and from then, as the national student leader, he started mentoring, especially people like myself and Femi Adeyeye, because myself and Femi Adeyeye also met around the same period
Same time, yeah.
within the student movement, and he had since then been source of inspiration and support. As a matter of fact, uh, during my time within the national student movement, we fought several struggles. We fought for the reinstatement of over 30 students that had been sent out of school at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. They were all fully reinstated. We fought for the reinstatement of 6 students that were sent out of school at the University of Benin. They were all fully reinstated. We fought against the prolonged ASU strike that had kept thousands of students out of school at the Ladoke, Ladoke, that's Lautech, you know. Uh, then we also fought and stopped the government of Amosun from imposing from imposing 10,000 naira education tax, illegal education tax on students. We stopped that as well, and we fought for the reversal of fee increments at the Yaba State, Yaba College of Education, Yaba College of Tech, yeah, Yaba College of Technology. Uh, and then most importantly, we also fought for the reinstatement of students that had been sent out of school at the University of Lagos. The reason I'm mentioning all of these struggles was that for all of these struggles we fought successfully while I was in National Student Movement together with Femi Shure was there for it all. He was like our biggest cheerleader. He was our advisor. He was our supporter. He was our strategist. As a matter of fact, in one of those instances, during our struggle against Amosu, he came physically. He marched with us physically in Ijebu Ode. You understand? This was in 2017. So that was what, and so that when Showore said he was going to contest for the 2019 election and informed us in 2018, we had no doubt as to who we wanted to support for the election. And it will interest you to know that I have never supported anybody in Nigeria's election. I've never voted before. I've never campaigned for anybody. Showore was the first person I campaigned for in my life, and he was the first person I voted for in any election. I can't tell you, Dr. Chidi.
Sorry, I muted. I didn't know I was on mute. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um, you can see there's so many things that are going on in my mind today. Um, we lost one of our community leaders here, so it was a big blow
Wow.
to us. Yeah, we're still gonna have
Wow.
to go talk to the family, but we
Wow.
have to do what we have to do. But it suddenly hit me, and that's what changed my demeanor. It's funny sometimes, and this is something that we have to deal with in and you have to be careful about it, and you're careful with what it does to your mental health. At times like this, a problem in Nigeria will just flash through your mind, and it will just at that moment you have this epiphany. When I just think about where we've come with in the area of activism, what people have faced trying to fight for the citizens of the country called Nigeria, and we are still where we are today. It just baffles me. It annoys me. It's frustrating, you know, and it puts me in a state of pity for myself. So I want to talk about some of the prominent um, actions that were taken in Nigeria in the direction of in the area of activism, and I just want to run us through the roles you played. Okay, this is why I'm having this discussion with you. I just wanted people to understand who the real juwon is, things that you've gone through, your experiences with activism, because in the end, we're now going to try to provide a solution. We're now going to try to look at the way forward when it comes to activism. But before we do that, just take us through some of the prominent actions that were taken in Nigeria that you got involved and the roles you played there. I don't know, but yeah, in any don't do in any particular order. But I think about NSAS, NBAC government, Revolution Now. There are so many other ones that I know you participated in, but let's just get a little insight into some of them and the roles you played in them.
Okay, right. Thank you. So yeah, after I left the student movement, I started organizing because I was within the Taking Back movement. And in the Taking Back movement, of course, like yeah, we were involved in a whole lot of struggles, like a whole lot of protests. Um, and part of it, as you have mentioned, is the EndSARS. But the EndSARS did not start in 2020. One of the very first prominent of EndSARS protests was also in 2017, and we had a protest in Ojota. When we were to mobilize for that protest, we had a WhatsApp group. That WhatsApp group consisted of myself, Shore, Deji Adeyanju, Femi Adeyeye, Segalink, and then there was also Ralph Adebayo. So it was in that WhatsApp group that we planned the very first EndSARS protest in 2017. Then we had the second EndSARS protest that was tagged Justice for Tina in 2019. Around that same 2019, one of the very major struggles that broke out or that we organized was Revolution Now in
Mm.
2019. You see, Revolution Now was quite. Oh, I've seen a lot of protests in Nigeria, at least for all through the time had been active politically. And I dare say, Revolution Now protest was that kind of protest that had the highest amount of security intimidation. Like it was terrible. It was NSAS was crazy, and bad governance had a lot of security forces that were there and positioned to intimidate and attack protesters. But Revolution Now was worse.
Mm.
2019. There was no single force. There was no single armed forces that was not there.
Mm.
Police, soldiers, navy, military police,
Yes.
NSCDC, anti-bomb squad, anti-riot, RRS, and helicopters hovering in the air as though we were fighting war. But in the midst of it, around that time, you will recall, 2 days before, August 3rd, they had arrested Shore,
Yeah.
and with the arrest of Shore, they had thought that we would not come out.
Sure.
So, but despite that, as a matter of fact, a former Senate president in 1989, Gbenga Komolafe, he said he had never in his life witnessed the kind of militarization that Buhari did in 2019 against
Mhm.
the revolutionary protest. That was a former NAS leader during the military regime in 1989. He
Mm.
said they had never witnessed that kind of military siege in his life. That was the kind of military siege we had in 2000. But we came out nonetheless. We defied the horde and we protested. Of course, many of us were brutalized, and I ended up in Ikoyi prison. I ended up in Ikoyi prison. A week after, I was released alongside others that were also arrested. I was released, and then when I was released, I didn't head home straight. Together with my comrades like Wiseman and others, we headed straight down for Kalakuta Republic.
Mm.
That you know Kalakuta Republic
Yeah, I know
now.
now. That's Fella's.
Yeah. Yes. By the time we got to Kalakuta, I had barely spent 20 minutes in Kalakuta Republic. In front of Kalakuta, so we about I think 6 or 8 trucks of police came down to Kalakuta Republic. I
Mm.
was going to be rearrested. But interestingly, the guys from Kalakuta Republic resisted them, and I was able to escape from the back.
Mhm.
I was able to escape together with the rest of my comrades, Wiseman, Jamo, and Maxwell. We were able to escape from the back, and yeah, that was it. And then the rest they say is history.
It's history.
Then we had NSAS protest 2020, you know. And before the NSAS protest in 2020, the NSAS protest happened within the context of very terrible hardship in the country. Remember, it was also COVID year.
Yes, yes. People had had it.
It
People
was
were not allowed to come out. People were banned
yeah,
from doing so many things. They were
exactly.
very upset.
So the government had declared a lockdown without a palliative. As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, you recall that we had a Zoom protest, a virtual protest called
Yes.
No
Pots and pans.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
You understand? So around that time, you will recall that the NLC in September 23 declared a nationwide strike.
Yeah.
over hardship and increment in electricity tariff.
Mm-hmm.
I was together with one of our comrades, Abiodun Sanusi, and I think Damilare Adinola.
Yeah.
We were on our way on by road from Abuja back to Lagos because we wanted to come and participate in the NSC protest in Lagos.
Yeah.
Before we got to Lagos, we had read on the news premium times that NSC had
Cancel the.
cancelled the protest. We were annoyed, and then we just said, look, let us mobilize for October 1 protest, Independence Day protest,
Protest.
which we had called much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. October 1 protest was so massive, nationwide, massive to the extent that the Nigerian government under Buhari arrested over 100 of our comrades nationwide. In Lagos only, they arrested 32 of our comrades in Lagos only. The remaining over 60 comrades were arrested nationwide in other parts of the country. So that when on October 24, Sowore tweeted and rallied all of us for EndSARS, we had just released the last batch of protesters from prison. So, and then we moved from October 1 protest fully into the EndSARS protest, which lasted for about 2 weeks. Of course, we knew how EndSARS ended. The government drowned the protest in blood, but we were at the forefront of that resistance, and it made significant impact. It brought an end to an entire notorious police unit, which was SARS. And for me, I think that was a big
That was big
victory.
achievement.
Yes, for Nigerian
Juwon,
young people, for the Nigerian
yeah.
people, for every one of us.
Juwon, every time there's a particular question that's always repeating itself about the NSAS protest. Because and it's not because anybody wants to take credit, but it's all about setting the record straight, okay? Now, a lot of people, when you're talking when you were speaking now, you said that a certain time ago, some years past, Moyele Shore tweeted about he formed a WhatsApp group, okay, and I'd like you to mention that again, and then he said how many of you were in that WhatsApp group and which year was
Yeah,
this?
yeah, that was in 2017.
He
In
formed a
that
WhatsApp
WhatsApp,
group,
yes,
and he
that
called
WhatsApp
that
group
was
had,
and what was the name of the WhatsApp group?
it was NSAS, it was NSAS,
Okay,
2017.
and how many
It
of
was
you were in the
NSAS.
group?
So there was myself, there was
Mm-hmm.
Deji Adeyanju,
Two,
there was Sega Link, there
three,
was Ralph Adebayo, and
four.
there was Femi Adeyeye.
Okay, so now five of you were in this WhatsApp group, and it was called NSAS. It's
NSAS,
important
yes.
that people recognize this because several times people have said, "Oh, that Shore came and was trying to hijack an action that he did not even know anything about it, that he did not." So now it is clear that it was actually Shore who had this idea to do an NSAS protest. So how many years before the NSAS protest actually happened?
That's, yeah, we actually had an NSAS protest in 2017. We had
Okay,
another one in 2019. And then we
okay,
had the Oga Patapata of them more in 2020.
okay. So it's important that people, because people spread propaganda, and me, I just think
Even
it's
the
being
Jadianju in
mischievous.
2020, even the Jadianju said NSAS started in Shore's house. The 2020 NSAS protest. He only said it. It started in Shore. That's a statement of fact.
You see,
You
people
know,
don't people, and like I said, these are mischief makers. They know this thing, but they don't want to talk about it, or they want to misrepresent it. Okay, but you know, There's always the day that the truth will come out and people will know the truth. So I'm glad that for a lot of people who watch this, they will get to know the truth about NSAS. That Shore, there was no way he could come to hijack something that he was the one that proposed the idea to NSAS. And to let people understand that that video they saw about people trying to run Shore out of the parade ground were people who were arranged by the government. It's not even that it was the protesters themselves.
It wasn't organic. It was
Those were
arranged
no,
as
it wasn't organic. Those were the what they call those touts. You people saw them
yeah,
now.
so
You
like,
saw when they will come and
but
between
interestingly,
schools.
they came back to apologize to Sowore.
Yeah, but of
But
course
the
they
media did
already
not
did.
project. Yes, the media did not project that video.
No,
They
it did not. It just wanted
didn't
it
have
to.
their own narrative.
Yeah, they just did their own thing. Anyways, um, you also talked about we have seen that NSAS achieved an aim. That's the positive side of the protest. But let us also look at how the government has treated protesters. You know how they have instead of focusing on meeting the needs of the protesters, their requests, their demands, how they have used fellow citizens to attack the protesters, blackmail them, use propaganda against them, and how they too have come against the protesters and attack them. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. What protesters have faced, in the hands of the police and the government. Our time is
See,
almost up, but let's talk about that.
it's a lot. Protest that if we are speaking specifically on the end bad governance protests, no, it was tragic. Over about 40 protesters were killed in the course of that protest,
Mm,
including children.
mm,
Over 2,100 protesters were arrested by the regime of Tinubu.
mm,
Many more were brutalized. We saw the brutalization displayed publicly. So that other things being equal, the Inspector General of Police should not be keeping his job.
mm,
The President of the country should not be keeping his job. As a matter of fact, he should be tried for treason
mm,
and murder.
mm,
Many people spent as a matter of fact, today, till date, we are still handling cases of several others that have been charged for treason for demanding good governance.
mm,
The judiciary was also used to repress and attack activists who were at the forefront of the protest.
mm,
For instance, people like myself, the Tinubu government got a court injunction against me,
mhm,
and that court injunction was targeted at restricting my freedom of movement, telling me telling me the places that I must not go to around, that I must be that the only place I am allowed to protest and move is at Ojota.
mm,
Every other place I am banned. Like the
mm.
government declared me personal non grata in every other part of the country except Ojota.
Wow. And this was for which protest?
During the end bad governance protest,
Mm,
yeah, it was like he got a court injunction. They got a court injunction. The same thing, the same court injunction they got against Shore,
mhm,
the same court injunction they got against Damilare, The same court injunction they got against Shoneye. These are all members of our movement, all members of the Take It Back movement. And then they went further to freeze the account of our organization. These are some of the Kano state coordinator of our organization, even after the protest, was abducted from Kano to Abuja. Our comrades from Rivers were brutalized. Our comrades in Yobe were arrested and detained in the police command in Yobe North. Our comrades in Ondo State were arrested and detained for several days. In Lagos, our comrades faced series of attacks, including thugs that were sponsored by the regime. So these are some of the challenges we faced during the End Bad Governance protest. Yeah, so it was, but of course we are used with such manner of repression, because the reason the government usually introduce repression is to ensure people are not able to express their opinion, are not able to protest, so that they can impose more hardship, they can steal more money, enjoy themselves at the expense of the rest of us.
So I think what the government does is the government proceeds to act like terrorists, because terrorists, yes, they instill fear in you. By the amount of terror that they bring on you, they terrorize you to the point where you can no longer have the confidence to do what you must do.
Yeah.
Anyway, juwon, there are so many things I would want for us to talk about, but maybe another time. Where do you see activism going in Nigeria? What is your prediction about what will happen based on your experience? And I know you have a lot of experience about goings on in Nigeria.
Well, for me, I would say activism in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I actually want to see the kind of Nigeria where citizens do not have to go to the streets really before they can be heard. We can have good governance. Have our legitimate rights. You understand? Have access to decent health. Have access to education.
Yeah.
We are not poor. We can eat. As a matter of fact, I was just discussing with a comrade of mine that there was a time in this country. I'm young, though. I'm not as old as you. You are heading towards the grave. But even in my small age, I witnessed in Nigeria where eating morning, afternoon, and evening food was absolutely normal.
I'm telling you.
As a matter of fact, if we were entitled to eating afternoon food, you must eat in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
You understand? But now it has become a misnomer to say you want to eat in the afternoon.
People just expect you to eat in the morning and the night.
Morning and night. That has become the new normal. And for most people, they are only eating maybe in the morning or only in the night. You understand? So we don't want to live. We want to live in a kind of Nigeria that we don't need activism to be able to get the basics of life. But I must also tell you that because this will not come on a platter of gold, activism in Nigeria, just like the rest of the global south, would continue to be relevant. But what the government is doing as at now, the government of Tinubu
Mm-hmm.
and its likes, you understand,
Mm-hmm.
is to ensure to shift the civic space enough to the extent that people will no longer be able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Activism would be impossible. So with the continuous attack on civic space, people like us are endangered species,
Yeah.
activists and journalists. So the future of free speech, the future of right to freedom of expression, the future of right to protest,
Bless
the
you.
future of sorry,
Bless you.
the future of activism relies on now. That is our ability to defend and keep the civic space open now to ensure
His network is hanging. He has really done so well. This is about 1 hour that he's kept his system on. He told me of likelihood of disruptions, and I was even thinking that it would have happened way before now. But at least thank God that he he was able to keep going. Um, Once he comes back, we'll be rounding up this interview. Okay, it's not a topic that you can exhaust just sitting down in one interview. There are so many parts to activism in Nigeria, um, and it's part of what I'm not saying is the only thing, but it's part of what an activism is not just protesting. And those are the kind of things I wanted us to also touch on. Maybe I'll do that with another person. I'll do that with him at another time. But I had wanted us to clearly show that activism is not just protest. Or when you talk about revolution, you have to go and start destroying things. No, we know that in the past, people in trying to exhibit or in trying to demonstrate their frustration at the government and who resort to protest, those are activists. But it doesn't mean that only time one can express themselves as an activist is only when they are in a protest. And people sometimes get that wrong about the Take It Back movement. No, we protest in so many ways. You heard him say that we had a pots and pans protest online, and currently we are running a campaign in the Take It Back movement. That is called Unmute Me. You see, this campaign is supposed to address the overreaching um, excesses of that draconian and cybercrime law, the anti-cybercrime bill that was passed in the House. Okay, yeah, we are protesting it right now. There's a program going on. I'll put the hashtag here in the comment section. So if you just go and click hashtag on mute me, hashtag unmute me, you'll be able to see something, maybe on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere online, but something about this our campaign will pop up, and you'll be able to learn what it's all about. But we have to keep encouraging people to not give up. Don't give up. What you are exercising is it's just a natural thing that God that created you has put in you, that you are able to understand when your rights are being trampled upon. God has given you the ability to feel and then has also given you the courage to speak up. Because if you could only just feel something and say, you know what, just let it be. Something has happened to us, oh, let it be. Then one day we will just disappear into thin air and people will say, oh, let it be. Even though sometimes you have to deal with that too. Anyways, um, we will continue to advocate, we'll continue to speak for people, we'll continue to defend them, and so that they can have their own say. And that's what we are doing. Comrade Juwon is not able to come back, but like I said, we're already at the end of the broadcast. I'd like to thank you for joining us. And please, like I said, Google Take It Back Movement, Google African Action Congress, Google Revolution Now Movement, Google our convener, Omoyele Sowore, and then find out for yourself what we're all about, what's going on. Okay, and if you want to learn more, please go on our website. It's let me see if I can get it here. It's take it back global dot com, I think, or .org. I just put the link there, so you can go use the link. Yeah, put it out there. Take it. Okay, we're missing something. We're missing something. We're missing an A. Take it back global.com. Okay, I wrote it correctly now. Okay. We'll put this one out of the way. Okay. All right, please, if you want to join us, go here and join us, and I'll see you guys at our next broadcast. All right. My name is Dr. Chidi. Take care and bye-bye.